I want to talk to you today about something I call your heart song. Not the kind that plays on the radio, not the one that gets stuck in your head at 3 a.m. for no good reason. I mean the quiet song or calling inside you, the one that's been humming. It's been humming away since you were young. The one that knows who you really are, even when you've forgotten. Perhaps you might say it's a calling that you bury under the needs and wants of others. Everyone has one, every single person. But if I'm honest, and I usually am, women are especially good at turning the volume down on theirs. Not because they don't have a heart song, but because they've buried it, or at least tried to. Busy taking care of others, busy being responsible, busy doing the right thing, the sensible thing, the expected thing, busy being needed, busy being strong, busy being fine. And somewhere along the way, that inner song gets politely shushed. I'll come back to you later. We tell it. When the kids are growing, when things calm down, when I lose the weight, when I retire, when I have more time. And the heart song waits patiently, quietly, for years. The trouble is, it just doesn't disappear. When your heart song isn't expressed, it doesn't die. It just finds other ways to speak. And sometimes those ways, well, they're not very helpful. I've worked with many women over the years who couldn't quite name what was wrong. On paper, their lives looked fine, good even. Families, jobs, responsibilities handled. Boxes ticked. Yet underneath, it was all this low-grade ache, a restlessness, a hunger that didn't seem to have anything to do with food. So they tried to fill it with overeating, like myself, with wine o'clock becoming wine anytime, with shopping, because a new pair of shoes felt like a fresh start. Well, for about 12 minutes, with busyness, with caretaking, with numbing, out in front of screens, not because they were weak, not because they lacked discipline, but because something essential inside them wasn't being fed. It wasn't a craving, it was a calling. And before anyone panics, yes, men have heart songs too. Of course they do. Men just tend to handle theirs a bit differently, that's all. Women often swallow their heart song whole and call it being responsible. Men are more likely to lock theirs in a shed, lose the key, and then spend weekends wondering why they feel irritated for no apparent reason. Different methods, same result. When your heart song is ignored long enough, it doesn't whisper anymore. It taps. Then it knocks. Then it bangs when the door you're trying to even sleep. For me, it took a long time to recognize mine. I didn't lack passion. I didn't lack ideas. What I lacked was permission. Permission to take that inner pull seriously instead of calling it impractical, selfish, or silly. I told myself all the usual things. That's not realistic. Too late now. Who do you think you are? Other people need you more. And so I did what many women do. I buried under being useful and eating my way to 200 pounds. I was very good at being useful. But the funny thing about a buried heart song is that it doesn't stay quiet. just because you've decided to ignore it. Oh, it seeps out sideways. It leaks into habits, into moods, into cravings, into a vague dissatisfaction you can't quite explain without sounding ungrateful. I wasn't ungrateful. I was unheard. And then, slowly, awkwardly, imperfectly, I did something radical. I not only listened, but as scary as it was, I decided to act on it. Not all at once, not dramatically. There was no choir of angels or lightning bolts of clarity. Just a small moment of honesty where I admitted to myself, well, this isn't going away. When I finally let my heart song breathe, really breathe, my world didn't magically turn perfect, but it did turn honest. And that changed everything. The yearning I'd been trying to stuff with food or distraction didn't need to be stuffed anymore. It needed expression. It needed space. It needed air. That's the part we don't talk about enough. So many coping behaviors aren't about excess. They're about absence. Something essential is missing. And the soul is trying to improvise. When your heart song is allowed expression, the need to numb often softens, not because it becomes easy, but because it becomes aligned. You stop fighting yourself. And that alone saves an enormous amount of energy. Now let me be clear. Releasing your heart song, well, it doesn't mean quitting your life, blowing everything up, or moving into a mountaintop to paint and wear linen. It can be quiet. It can be simple. It can look completely ordinary to everyone else. But inside something clicks. You start to feel like yourself again. Or maybe, for the first time, like yourself at all. And here's the part I want you to hear most clearly. Your heart song does not expire. It doesn't care how old you are. It doesn't care how long it's been waiting. It doesn't hold grudges. It's remarkably forgiving, actually. I've seen women in their 70s and 80s finally allow themselves what they denied for decades. Creativity, voice, play, expression, curiosity. And when they do, something lights up. Their posture changes. Their energy changes. Even their laughter sounds different. Not louder, truer. Your heart song doesn't demand perfection. It doesn't require talent, approval, or permission from anyone. It just wants honesty. And no, it's not selfish. When you're connected to your heart song, you don't become less generous. You become less resentful. You don't give less. You give from a place that isn't depleted. That's a big difference. So if something inside you has been gently or not so gently tapping on the door, well, this is your moment to stop calling it a problem and start calling it information. That restlessness, that longing, that quiet voice that says, there's more. That's not you being difficult. That's your heart song clearing its throat. You don't have to know exactly what it wants today. You don't need a 5-year plan or a dramatic reinvention. You just need to acknowledge it. Listen. Make a little room. Let it hum. Because when you stop trying to silence or bury your heart song, you often discover something surprising. You weren't broken. You weren't lacking willpower. You weren't feeling at life. You were simply meant to sing and hadn't yet been allowed. How do I know of this, you might ask? Well, when I released my heart song, I lost over 60 pounds and left a 21-year toxic marriage. Oh boy, I sure hope yours isn't as drastic as that. But your heart song is important, and I'll bet your heart song is calling for you to release yours too. And it turns out the world changes when you finally do. Meanwhile, take care, release your heart song to the outside world. Keep smiling, love ya. Until the next time, bye for now.